everybody. Good afternoon. How the hell are you? Y'all let me know in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me because we couldn't do anything if y'all, well, it wouldn't be fun if y'all couldn't hear me. I would just be talking to the wind, which would not be abnormal for me, but it's better if I have someone to talk to. So let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me get my chat pulled up. Hey, welcome to my mod team. Simi is here. Forrest is here. Rachel is here. Rachel may not be able to stick around the whole time, guys. So, Rach, be careful out there on your travels when you're out and about. Um, Welcome in, Sparky Pilot. How are you? Sound is good. Thank you, Forrest. Waiting for a connecting flight in Denver, home to Seattle. Safe travels for you, our friend. Safe travels. Okay. Y'all, I'm not even sure how to start this off. I thought I had a game plan. Man, how quickly things like pop up and pop off, right? But we'll get into it all. We'll get into it. I'm just having a leisure day. I'm trying to have a leisure day. I'm just gonna make it happen. I'm just like, whatever day. You're not getting to me today, day. Jesus. Yes, be safe. For everybody who has to venture outside of their home, no matter how you travel, I always wish you safe travels. My mom always had this saying about being careful getting there and things like that. So we want everybody to be safe. I hope y'all are having great weather. It's hot outside. It just is what it is. It's Florida for me. Yesterday we had a rocking and roll. We get these pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, as we call them. They're random. They come out of nowhere. The heat of the day is taking over. It's steamy, and boom, we got a tropical thunderstorm popping off at any given time. And when we get them, then sometimes it'll cool things right down. Yesterday I got one of those pop-up thunderstorms. It rained real hard for a while. It just thundered and lightning like nobody's business, and then it was gone. Then it was such a beautiful evening. The sky was amazing. It was gorgeous. I appreciated it. Grateful, right? Take that deep breath. It's a hell of a 24 hours for the Guthrie case. Those letters back to square one or a question. Uh, you nailed it, the Sparky Pilot. Oh my God. I need to just highlight that comment. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Y'all, I just threatened not to cover this case no more until we had some news to report on. And boom, this morning. Well, we had a little bit yesterday, right? Jay for Justice was live yesterday and had Howard Bloom on. And we know recently the ransom letters came back up in the news because of Howard Bloom's reporting, right? That it was an apology letter, which broke the internet. Everybody started debating all over again about the letters, notes. TMZ started getting new ones again. What's happening, right? Here we go again. So right after, while Jay was live, okay, so after that, with Howard Bloom, she, asked some questions. He gave us a little more insight as to what he said was in the letters or in the notes, whatever you want to call them these days, the first two. And it was like, there's this very specific things allegedly said in these notes that would be really hard to make up if you didn't have some knowledge of what was inside that home. All right? Even if these things are fake, you got a really good imagination about what the inside of that home may look like and what Miss Nancy's bedroom may or may not have scattered about. So it was things like that being said, right? Well, while after that was over, Jay went live again and did a call-in show. Everybody could call in, share their thoughts, theories, whatever. During the live, she was researching something and saw X. There it was. Routers has a new article. Ransom notes are fake, according to boom, an FBI source, an unnamed, them rogue sources, man. Here we go again with them FBI sources. They're never allowed to have a press conference, is my theory, and they don't know what to do with themselves, so they secretly source information to media personalities. They're like, phew, got that off my chest. We can't have them press conferences to set the record. So, you know, they're rogue. I don't know what's going on. Well, I think there may be a theory. I don't know for sure. We'll evaluate. But here we go again with the rogue FBI nonsense. So I'll play you the video where Jay then posted a video where she read the thing. She read the article, right? So let's start looking at that. We'll start there. And then we'll move on. We'll move forward. And don't worry, we'll get to everything that I spoke of in the thumbnail or in the brief description. Get up here, screen. This look, everything better cooperate, just so y'all know ahead of time. Mercury's in retrograde and she's my ruling planet, and when she's cattywampus, I get cattywampus. The devices go nuts and do their own thing. So if we have technical difficulties, we're going to blame it all on the universe. Tell her to get some act right today. Get her head on straight. Yeah, Harvey's FBI. So it's funny that you are not funny. I'm glad you're here, honestly, subtext, because I was going to refer to a tweet of yours, or you and I had a little few questions, right, about the original routers report. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your conversation on X, because I appreciate those types of conversations. But yes, I just caught that right before we went live, literally. So we have that. We'll take a look. All right. So let's take a look at what happened during Jay's live. Okay. And of course, I know Jay for Justice. If you don't, this is Jay for Justice. Get on over there and do your things.
Breaking news. The FBI 30 minutes ago has determined that all the kidnapping notes are fakes.
Everyone?
Okay, so it says all 3 kidnapping related messages that have surfaced in news media reports about the disappearance of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie's elderly mother have been deemed by federal investigators to be fake communications, an FBI official told Reuters on Tuesday. The FBI assessment of inauthenticity pertains to the 2 ransom notes in early February, days after 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie vanished, and a third, more recent message from someone claiming to know the kidnappers' identities, the official said. This is a quote. None of the ransom notes are believed to be genuine, the FBI official said, speaking on condition of anonymity to discuss details of an active investigation. A second law enforcement source familiar with the matter confirmed.
Okay, Reuters came out with a story today.
Okay. So a second agency apparently, or someone else from a second agency also confirmed, but let me we'll get to you in a minute. Let me take a look at this thing on X. Hold on, let me get my shit together here, y'all. Bear with me. All right, because I didn't want to refer to this because there was the routers report and what they cited of how the FBI determined these things were fake. That caught me right off the bat. I'm like, wait, what? I hope there's more than that. We'll see. And subtext was right there with me. Hold on. Let me grab that because I even have that on my notes to bring up. Okay, Alex. All right. Well, where'd it go? Right here. Okay. Oh, we were having our conversation about the Bitcoin wallets too. All right. So let me show you what the tweet said. All right, here we go. And again, guys, this is Alex over at Subtext Press over on X. a good account to follow. I have no reason to say anything bad about this account. They've been really cool over here, and I've enjoyed interacting with them. So nice to meet you. um, Savannah's "We Will Pay" video was before the deadline, right? The FBI's "We Will Pay" payment was after the deadline, which we knew that if you go back to the timeline, which I'm glad, thank you for keeping up, because a lot of people can't remember it. An FBI source now says they determined it was fake on the basis of $152 worth of Bitcoin sent after the deadline that went untouched. So the article from Routers does say that, along with another investigative something, right? Which didn't, like, what other thing? What other thing would you use to determine it was fake? I don't know what, they didn't cite it. But if you went and said, okay, well, we put, this $152 worth of Bitcoin in the account and nobody touched it, that's how we know they're fake. What kind of bullshit is that? It doesn't take a genius or a rocket scientist to know that's not. What in the world is that? Just because they didn't touch your little bit of your $152 compared to what they were asking for, and knowing that was a breadcrumb trail, you trying to get them to bite to trace them. No, Routers, come again, right? That was my first red flag right there. So thank you for also noticing that. And then we had a conversation about it, and we were both like, yeah, what is this about? All right. So Jay was reading the article, right? And then everybody started talking about it. And then throughout the evening, it was being talked about. Everybody now doubling down that the FBI has confirmed these notes are fake. Where has the FBI confirmed it outside of a source in a news article that everybody seemingly ran with as confirmed information, right? Confirmed everywhere. Well, that's not what Kash Patel said this morning, or I think it was this morning when he said it. So let's take a look at what Kash Patel had to say about these letters being fake. Because, he's supposed to know it, right? He's the head of the agency. He can talk Google into scratching things with their partnership with the private sector program that he's really proud of, him and the president. And Maureen O'Connell worked on that for years, decades, according to her. That other agents are super the InfraGard, yeah, everybody likes, so they're like, give us more information about that. And we're like, oh no, we're not talking about that. It's secret. It's just known as the InfraGard. That's all you need to know. It's the partnership with the private sector to serve those lawful subpoenas on them without a fight. Okay, now enough of that. All right, where are you at, sir? Right here. Okay. So they were having a or a press conference about some other stuff, whatever, all the stuff that the FBI is out there doing today, I guess. And this had happened. This is what had happened, y'all. He's over there in the corner, standing in the back. I don't know what to make of this guy, and I don't really have any comments. His eyes sort of do freak me out. Don't know why. Probably because they're just weird. I don't know why they're weird. Everybody has their own opinions, I think, out there. So y'all roll with it. Do you? But he's weird in what he says, especially if a source if a credible source has confirmed these are fake ransom notes, then why would the director of the FBI respond in such a way and not be proud to announce, we discovered who it is and it's fake? How else are you going to determine they're fake if you don't discover who it is? I ponder that thought.
I have a question for the FBI director, if you don't mind. Reuters is reporting that the ransom notes that were sent regarding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance are fake. Are you able to confirm that those have been determined to be fake?
I'm not going to comment on that. We are continuing to assist that investigation. We've always been in an assist role. It's a state matter being led by the state authorities.
We've always been in an assist role. A state matter led by state authorities, except for the ransom notes, sir. Legitimate or not, that's on you. Your job. Hmm. That was the end of that. Thank you.
Clarify
Bye.
something.
He said bye. Oh, we're not ready for all that yet. Stop it. That might be a little too much. All right. Y'all, I might be a little too much here in a minute. Woo. They cited the one thing, but not the others. If they're fake, just cite them all. Exactly. Exactly. That's what you and I were talking about. And what other things helped you determine they were fake? Um, Digital evidence, some metadata. You found the person that was writing the fake letters. You know they're full of shit. I mean, you just know it, right? Why would the FBI be like, all of a sudden, we don't got nothing to say? Because they'd be proud of whatever tools they were able to use to help in an investigation. They came out immediately. We got Google to scratch, man. We pressed them, and they're like, okay, give us a minute, and look what we got. So if they really determined these letters were fake, I think, actually, at this point, why don't we demand an answer from some damn buddy? Shouldn't we have that right? Shouldn't we petition whoever? All of y'all, we're going to petition all of y'all. Let's start one of those, petition.org or whatever. Let's start one. Somebody better get out here and talk some business, because y'all may not want to talk about Ms. Nancy, but we do. And we need to know if those letters are real or not, because it would help us get there a little bit better. It would help us take a lot of bullshit right off the table. But y'all want to leave it up to us to continue to speculate. So, okay, it's weird. Again, it's weird. It's hard not to go there. Hey, Dolphin, welcome in. Uh, Dolphin, I'll call you in a little while after the show. I was super busy earlier, and yeah, I'll explain later. I hope you're doing better today. I hope you're feeling okay. In your opinion, the case agents actually know reporters are getting opinions from sources who have zero idea. Well, everybody's got their sources, right? All these media personalities. Brian Enton's got his FBI sources. He's told us multiple times. Ashley Banfield has had hers. Remember? The son-in-law is the suspect. Well, no shit. Early in an investigation, the last person to see the person usually is the suspect. And let's be honest, if we had heard they were never a suspect, we would have cried foul on that shit quickly. So I would suspect you need to be a suspect early on. Maybe have your house searched and your car gone through meticulously. Maybe have all your devices searched inside and out. I don't know. I'd like to see an investigation conducted, right? Okay, so Enton tweeted this. We all have our trusted news sources. Let's see what they're all saying. At this point, Ms. Nancy Guthrie, I don't know if she can trust anybody. All right. Enton says, "1 hour ago," he reported, "the bottom line I am hearing is the Nancy Guthrie notes could be fake, but there is no way to know for sure. All possibilities on the table." From what he is hearing. Okay. From who? Sources? All right, let's go see what somebody else had to say, interestingly enough. It's like the wild, wild west out there, and we're just all at its mercy. But I'm a cowgirl at heart. I can ride. Ride, baby, ride. Let's navigate the wild, wild west together. It cannot defeat us. Because cowgirls don't cry. I could bust off in song at any time. All right. Oh, they've reported some other things. Goodness. Oh, he's reporting on Kash Patel's statements. Oh. Okay, let's pull up this guy. Matt Finn's tweets. Where's everybody getting their random information from? So, 3 hours ago, we have formally reached out to the FBI about the router's report that says that the Guthrie ransom notes are fake. The router's report is listed with a Washington locator, not Arizona, and cites two FBI sources. The router's report seemingly caught some investigators close to the case off guard. Federal sources have told me all along that the first two notes are still being treated as possibly legitimate. There may not be an active investigation into every word of those letters, but they haven't been formally ruled out. Huh. All right. Well, an hour ago, federal law enforcement sources tell Fox's Jake Gibson the FBI believes the Guthrie notes are a hoax and not credible, as Reuters reports. But this conclusion is not 100% nailed down yet. After FBI leaks in the Reuters reported yesterday, today FBI Director Kash Patel chose not to comment, saying state authorities are leading the investigation. However, Reuters report the Pima County Sheriff's Department deferred to the FBI on the ransom notes. Damn. Poor Miss Nancy. Those ransom note people porch guys just living his fucking best life, possibly somewhere, wishing he had a payday. If he's still with us. So here he's just reporting on the Kash Patel's response, right? That we all saw and heard with our own eyes. Guys, who knows what to make of this nonsense and this word salad we're getting from everybody involved now. I bet you there'll be 100,000 reports by the end of the day citing sources confirming that these things are real. Semi Sharp, do you know what song? Now that you referred to the horses and the riding, do you know what song I'm referring to? And how would you know if you don't listen? Wild flowers and wild horses. Okay. I don't know. I guess the jury has to be out on these ransom notes. I know I find a few things odd because somebody wrote some notes, right? They definitely were some notes received. Question is, who wrote the notes? And why would they write a fake note then? And they apparently had some very specific information about what the inside of Miss Nancy's home may have looked like, right? And what her bedroom may have looked like, where her Apple Watch placement may have been on the floor versus the nightstand. And I guess you could have a really good guess and say, well, it could have fell off during a struggle. It could have been snatched off her arm, knocked off the table. How do we even know any of that even happened? It wasn't a wake up. What's happening? Would you just need to come with us? No struggle at all until we get to that front door. We don't know, right? So good guess, Lainey. Lainey is awesome, Rach. If you know, you know, right? Apparently, you know. Hey, Andy, great live earlier, ma'am. I was listening in the background while prepping for all this, and I had to come in and say, hey, goodbye to you while I was taking the puppy out before my show. So thank you you're the one out there doing the Lord. You're always saying everybody's out there doing the Lord's work. Ma'am, you're doing the Lord's work. It takes a lot to do what you're doing over there, digging into actual documents and talking about the real issues. So I appreciate the conversation you're having. And I'd love to have you on to chat about that sometime soon. We need to get it set up. You just don't enjoy the twang. Give me Dolly or Reba. You don't think those two have twangs? The queens of twang? Seriously? Oh wow. Okay. Two separate twangs on top of that. Different. I guess your people's definition of twang may be different. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very confused about the FBI today. Apparently, well, okay, so before we move on to Alex Murdaugh and his issues and how much he needs Othram, yikes, and how much his attorney might be a little confused on Othram's role. Well, in one case, but well, maybe somebody's explained it all to them by now. I don't know. We'll get there in a moment. FBI sources. Now, hang on. Let me make sure I'm moving along here. All right. I don't know if we can trust all this information we're hearing on these ransom notes, right? Because we're just getting sourced information from unnamed people. We could be made up for all we know, right? People are all the time saying people make stuff up all the time. It's for clicks and views. It's all these things. Ugh. Well, maybe it's made up. We don't know. Yes, Andy, Othram, Alex Murdaugh. I made a short that someone might want to let Trisha know that he needs their help. She might can expedite the matter. She seems to have pull over there. I don't know. Um, we'll take a look at all that in a moment. But yeah, Othram's the hero riding in high. Apparently, Othram's like, we'll do it and we'll expedite it. It's just going to cost you some dollars in a judge's order. Okay, enough about that for the moment because they deserve their own time. Can we trust these FBI people? There's been a lot of things out there over the years in the past that make us question law enforcement as a whole, right? We have really good defense attorneys out there bringing things to light, showing us how things can go sideways, and how it could be you one day, and things to look out for, and how we all know corruption exists, and um, really bad investigations can be conducted with law enforcement, not just the FBI as a whole, law enforcement, those boots on the ground detectives out there working. We've seen a lot of read technique stuff come out, that we've all uncovered and watched stuff about and educated ourselves about. All these things, right? So we know that not all cops are great cops. We know that not all bad cops. Same can be said for FBI agents, I think, especially after getting to know a lot of these people throughout the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Because the talking heads all of a sudden were everywhere with this Nancy, because everybody's covering the Guthrie investigation. Y'all know how that mainstream media works. They got to pull in their experts and come talk to us and give us your take and all the things. Next thing you know, we got 10 profilers, 15 profilers, XBI detectives, investigators, crime scene and out, all the people weighing in, blood spatter experts trying to tell people it's not fake blood, it's not staged. In other words, all these things, right? Um, well, you think salty to me that is why the Idaho stuff isn't being disclosed. I think, and Andy, the thing about it is Othram had very little to do with Brian Koberger's arrest or capture. They did not find Brian Koberger, right? So that's what I mean when I say that I believe that Alex's attorneys Poot's a little confused on how all that went down. And we can pull out all the documents to show exactly how everything went down in the Idaho 4 case concerning the sheath, the DNA, the development, and how all the steps that it went through. And how Idaho was already under contract with Othram Labs out of Texas prior to the Idaho 4 case, right? That was their lab. All these departments across the country have labs they're affiliated with. it's common knowledge, right? That happened to be who they contracted with already. Idaho State Police develops the DNA profile, unknown male DNA. They develop the STR profile. It goes into CODIS, no match. What are we going to do now? Well, let's send it over there to Author, and they can do that IgG. Never been conducted in a real-time investigation, only in cold cases, right? So now we're doing that now. They go through the front door, the 3 legal databases, and find 3 relatives, or was it 4 relatives of Brian Kohberger's cousins, but could not find Brian Kohberger or his father. They had to stop right there because they could only access the 3 legal databases, right? Then the order went in and said, stop all your work, give it to the FBI. Federal Bureau of Investigations has taken over investigative genetic genealogy. They're allowed to go into the back door and use all the databases because it's only a procedure they might follow if they want, that they use the legal databases. It's all in the Kohberger documents. So then Ann Taylor's like, FBI, not Othram, FBI, I want all of your investigative genetic genealogy material, every last bit. The judge is like, oh my God, this is fucking new. What am I going to do? So then we have to have a 3-day in-camera review in the judge's chambers with some experts to help them to decipher all of that genealogical work product that was somehow deleted. Well, see, there's a whole thing behind that Othram IgG in the Kohberger case. That's not what's, so that's a whole other show, I guess. But that's what's just a quick rundown, guys. If people are being led astray out there or confused about those details. And I think because there's so much shade being thrown at Othram because of their affiliation, weirdly enough, with the web sleuths, which I don't know why they would even do that shit, considering before Idaho 4, they were solving so many cold cases through genetic genealogy. Why would you shoot yourself in the foot like that and affiliate with yourself with somebody like that? Did you not do your homework? You're getting eaten alive out here on YouTube now. And now Alex Murdaugh's got a misconception on what you did in the Idaho 4 case. All right. Notice they're not on the website as of yet that I know of for the Gonzalez Families Foundation as affiliated labs that they will help you get genetic genealogy testing done for your family the way it was done for their family in the Idaho 4 case. The top one actually is the Florida lab Nano sent his bullshit to. I don't know. So, why can we not trust these FBI agents? Can we trust all these law enforcement people? And I'm going to be petty right now, because why not? I'm just a lady on the internet today. Something was said on a live stream, and I'm like, what did I just hear? Of course, I had to clip it. I'm not no OLOP, but I was bored, and I'd put a little something together because I was just like, this is going to be fun. So even if it's not funny, laugh with me. But I want to show you something interesting. Now, we all know over there on the interview room, they're unpacking a lot with the Nancy Guthrie case, right? A lot about the female tone of those fake notes, poetry type words in it. Who could have, would have wrote all that? Annie Tommaso, phantom siblings we don't know about yet, maybe. Elimination murder, all the things, right? We also know that he platforms a couple of retired law enforcement officers he used to work with and stuff. They're all retired. 3 of them are retired law enforcement officers, retired cops, detectives, whatever they were. And then he also brings on Dr. Gary Bricardo, psychologist, that coined the term elimination murder in his book. And he will also bring on other cops occasionally and retired law enforcement FBI agent Maureen O'Connell. And we're all like, we like Maureen O'Connell. She's cool as shit, right? She's cool. She's no Jacob, thank God. How refreshing. A female in the house, right? What has she got to say about things? We're like, we're here for it. All right, well, he seems to be all down with his fellow FBI agents, but we've all heard how they don't like to work together. You know what I mean? Like the local authorities working with the FBI can sometimes be a fine line, iffy thing. Egos are in come into play, and we've heard it all. Random things, right? Kicking FBI out, accepting FBI, all the things we've heard it all. But why would a top cop, an alleged self-proclaimed top cop, go hard about FBI agents not being smart? What's the opposite of dumb? Hold on. Oh, wait, let's see what Harvey said first an hour ago. We didn't play this yet. Hold on, Harvey, because I want to save my goodness. Hold on. Jacob and Maureen, those two are like night and day. Yeah. Da-dun, da-dun. I miss Butterfly at this moment. Da-dun, da-dun. She'd know. She'd be in there. She would be singing it. We call her the Pink Panther. Jacob, she's going to sneak up there in that Karen Reed case and get on that lawn and take a picture and get caught by the doorbell cam. Great work, undercover FBI lady. You got caught on the neighbor's ring cam taking a photo of that yard where John O'Keefe lay in the snow. Weird. Got caught red-handed. It was great content. Okay, Harvey, take it away while I freshen up my coffee. I don't know what he's about to say, y'all, because I haven't watched it yet. It literally popped off right before I went live. I guess subtext, you saw it too before I went live. So let's all catch it together. Oh, Andy, you're good. I wanted to clarify because I can tell when I'm in chats, right? And this stuff is being talked about. People really don't have the full knowledge of what Othram's role really was in the Idaho 4 case, right? They just hear Othram, DNA, Sheath, here we go, right? No, 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 no. The issues in the Idaho 4 case of all the pro burgers that support he may be going to be getting post-religion, post-conviction relief, whatever they're trying to say these days. They're not basing it on Othram's DNA stuff at all. It's other, he just didn't do it at all. It's got nothing to do with their feelings on Othram. They all don't like Othram, but it is what it is. So I'm glad I can clarify when I can clarify, especially about the Idaho 4 case, because there are 4 victims in that case that are near and dear to my heart. Xana, my girl, your birthday's in a few days, baby girl. And are you looking for your vape? Giggling while you're looking for that vape?
A story today saying that they have FBI sources who say that the FBI has determined that the 2 ransom notes, alleged ransom notes, one of which we received along with 2 Tucson television stations, and a second which one of those TV stations received, were not legitimate. And also that the demand letters that we had been receiving from somebody demanding 1 Bitcoin in return for saying who the kidnappers are, identifying them, that too is not legitimate. So we decided that we would pursue this and see if in fact this is real, that they've discounted it. It's not what we had heard.
Huh? How are we going to pursue it, y'all? Are we paying the Bitcoin, Harvey, or are you just going to press the FBI? Let's find out.
But it was possible, so we made calls. So I am going to tell you that I spoke with 2 people in the FBI, one of whom is involved in the investigation, one of whom is an official. And the official
One's an official and one's not. What is the other one?
In the FBI who asked, I don't use this person's name, said this: it is more likely than not that the two ransom notes are real. Are real. Um, Further in that conversation, this person
Did more likely than real, the first two? Is that what Harvey reported an hour ago? That the first two, according to his source, are more than likely real? What in the hell is happening in this world? Y'all get your ass out there and find Miss Nancy. Since y'all know so much about the hang on. Y'all know so much about these letters. Get the fuck out there and find the letter writer. What the hell you doing? For real? Play me. You know everything but who sent them and where they're at? I feel like somebody's pants are on fire right now because they're lying. Don't know who it is yet.
said, they are more legitimate than not. That's a quote. Now, they haven't determined it is for sure real, but they definitely have not determined it is for sure fake. And as for the demand letters that we've been getting, where somebody is asking for 1 Bitcoin, they say it is less likely that those letters are real, but they have not discounted that either. So I think
Less likely they're real, but not discounted. Huh. What? When Cash has got no comment? You got rogue agents, sir, running around everywhere. Can we get a comment about that? Shit. That's what I'm wanting to ask. What are you doing with all your rogue agents out there running around sourcing stuff out? What's happening, sir?
this goes to the legitimacy, really, of the ransom notes, because that's really what's important here. We have told you before that we had as many as 5 FBI agents on phone calls at the same time with our IT team trying to find out who sent these ransom notes or these alleged ransom notes. And they have not been able to do that.
I wholeheartedly believe somebody is sending TMZ letters. If they're real or not, I don't know. There's not one part of me thinks for 1 second Harvey is dumb enough to fake what he's doing, receiving these letters. Like it's all fake. He just wants his money, clicks and views. Come on, that's too easy to prove, and it could ruin him and his little TMZ show, right? So I feel like somebody's legitimately sending them. What the question was always, is that person real or not? Most people said it's all fake, but they couldn't make up their mind what part they thought was fake, that Harvey was fake or the actual person sending them was fake. And it was hard to get to that conversation that like there's a fake, a person sending fake letters, because everybody decided TMZ was doing it to themselves, which is so tinfoil hat at the moment. Like, really? Is it a possibility? Yeah, but is he going to risk all that? Huh.
Told today that they are still pursuing those 2 notes, the 2 alleged ransom notes. They have not determined, I want to repeat, they're real, but they have definitely not determined that they're not.
This is all a waste of time. Why if they can't decide what it is, what is up or what is down, then you like who, the media or the FBI sources, or all of them, right? Somebody spoke to Bloom, and Bloom came out with his airmail, opened up the conversation again about the fake ransom notes that everybody chalked up to, and now back at them again. FBI needs to come out and make some clarification at this point. They really, really do. And you know what? If they're fake, what's the harm in releasing the fake ransom letters now and let us read them? Let me see if somebody really could have guessed the information that's in that letter like everybody's suggesting.
Not, and they lean more toward legit than not legit. Now, the official I talked to said, look, this is a big organization, and there are multiple agents on this case. And if you talk to all of them, their opinions are going to vary. And so it depends on who you talk to. And that seems real enough that not everybody would agree. But the official position of the FBI is they have not discounted these two ransom notes. So the reason
I wonder if other outlets, now there are already other reports coming out. Brian Enton and Matt Finn also agree with Harvey that these things are still on the table. So don't just go yelling at Harvey, because when you do, you got to also go yell at Enton and Matt, right? They're just reporting the same thing, but in different ways. That's all, right? We have to keep that in mind when we're evaluating some of this stuff. You don't think the notes are real? It was sent to send folks on a wild goose chase. Yeah, people are saying that as well, but from the real killers, sent the notes to get the trail off of them. Yeah, I had that thought too, and I thought, what if it was a stalker and they sent the ransom notes to make people think it was a kidnapping? But what do I know? See, it could go either way. Did Annie send them to cover up their tracks? That's what's being said. I can't sugarcoat the conversation anymore because that's literally what people are saying, right? We're adults on the internet. I'm not saying that because I don't want to be sued either. People out there saying it without saying it. I can say you're saying it, but I'm not for sure. I think you're alluding to that anyway. It sure sounds like it. Sure sounds like y'all are alluding to Annie out there and Tom. They're still right back on the table of suspicion. Because now, if there's any validity to these notes, well, somebody wrote them, right? And again, the feminine tone in the poetry. So it's Annie. And it was an elimination murder. But I don't know why. So, unless there's somebody else out there that would have sent them on a wild goose chase fate, right? I don't know. Who would have? A stalker could do that. Hell, if these letters are fake and a stalker did it, what if Miss Nancy's alive and well, sitting in their home chilling, and they done got her meds from Mexico? Maybe she sees a doctor over there occasionally who's paid well. I don't know. Conspiracy brains can run wild, right? I can make this story get real good. Hold on. And they won't let her go, but yet they've got her taken care of because they want a mom just like that. What Savannah always has had that I never got. She even got my job all those years ago. I don't know. It could go really deep. People want to know what the relationship between Porch Guy and the cook could be. Some are suggesting a complex relationship now. Really, like I suggested months ago, because the cook could be a woman, because we know Porch Guy's a man. Those are always complex relationships, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister, family dynamics and all. We can't forget that. I don't know. What else you got to say, Harvey?
I think this is important, is that you look at the first note where they make that demand of $4 million, and then the second, then they say if you don't meet the deadline, it goes to $6 million, and if you don't pay the $6 million by the deadline, we will kill Nancy Guthrie. And then the second note that the Tucson station received, we didn't. They don't ask for any money. They just inform Savannah Guthrie and her family that Nancy had died. And that seems to be why Savannah came out almost the next day and said, look, we will pay you money to know where our mother is. In other words, to bring her body back. And it now kind of makes sense. The reason she said that is because that second letter did not ask for any money. It was almost like, these kidnappers were not banking on the fact that Nancy Guthrie would die in their watch, freaked out, didn't ask for anything, and just went underground. And she's saying, no, we will pay you, but they have never to be heard from again.
Faye, I don't know how much those streamers out front have anything to do with any of this. Any, you know what I mean? They're out there fighting. One of them got their charges dropped or some shit. I don't. They got ran off for their own reasons, right? Whether it was legal or not, being battled out right now. Apparently, it wasn't legal for some of them because they're getting their charges dropped. But that's a constitutional battle. I don't think it's just a whole separate battle, in my opinion.
So that's kind of the bottom line to this, which is the official position of the FBI is those ransom notes are more likely than not real, but they still don't know, and they are still looking at those notes. And the demand letters, less so. They would not give me a 7.
Why are they still looking at the other notes? What are we looking at still? Words? Are we examining the words still? Are they being picked apart in some PhD classroom at pick a university USA? Is that what we're doing? What's happening here? Why are we analyzing these notes? Release the writings and help catch the Unabomber. What if it was fake and it was AI? According to Brianna Whitney and her interview over there at Ashley Banfield, I think it was, she said the way these things were worded, yes, she's seen the speculation about AI and chat GTP. She said, but it seemed to go further than that, as if they weren't sure what word to use in English, like lost in translation, like, a lot of the particular words being used. I was like, that actually makes a little sense. Don't mean it means anything, but it makes sense, right? If I take all the conspiracies off the table about it. Could be a lead for all we know, right? The possible connection between Kalela and Ed, we don't even know if there is one for sure. It was said, right? It was said they had exchanged music files. I don't know. Everybody that suspects Annie and Tom suspects somebody from the music world to be in on it or to have knowledge of it, to help them in some capacity. Oh, and don't forget that homeless encampment down there where Annie surrounds herself with those kind of people. Don't forget about that as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with these notes, what will come of it. I think Miss Nancy Guthrie deserves better than what she's getting out on these YouTube streets, just like the Idaho 4 victims did, just like the victims of Lori Vallow's family needed and deserved and didn't get. I could go on and on, actually, about some of these families out here that catch hell on the internet without even realizing it's coming. Sometimes it's warranted, but 95% of the time it's not. So let's get back to trying to figure out if we can trust these FBI agents, because a lot of people out there trust what this man has to say. So I feel like maybe it's important. It's maybe just shady. I don't know. Just a lady on the internet. I don't claim to have a wall full of degrees and accolades to show you, to make you believe me. I don't have all that. I just got some life experience and a what in the world's happening face constantly. All right, so we saw what Harvey had to say. We know the ransom notes were reported fake by routers, and we saw that Cash had no damn comment. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe you asked me that question. Was not prepared. My partnership with the private sector, we didn't discuss all that. What's happening? Let me get out of here real fast. We saw that. Okay, so let's review this. This happened over on the lab. No shade to the lab. You're a decent dude. I don't have no beef with you at all. You've not said one thing yet that I can find that I need to go, what? You've tried a few times, I can say that. Don't know you well, I just have caught a few things here and there, for review's sake. Uh-oh, hold on. Let me get my everything together here. So this is like I said, this is going to be the lab, and it is Josh hosting his show. The interview room, Chris McDonough and was it John Lamb are there co-hosting. And this was said. And I didn't even watch all of it, right? I just was sitting out back with my coffee, nothing was on. I was bored. I was like, let me review this late night fiasco. It's always something. So I turned it on and I caught this. I was like, dang. And then I had a little too much fun. Okay, I'll share it with you guys. All right. So here's what had happened. While it's playing, I'm going to mute for a second and go grab a soda, or actually a bottle of water. And I'll be back in just a minute. I'll let this play, and then you guys watch, and then we'll have a discussion about what you see and hear. And fire off in the comment section while it's playing.
Nobody up here is saying that the FBI is incompetent. That's not what was said. We're saying that there's so many agents, and like in every agency, there are terrible agents that don't know what they're doing, and the FBI is no exception to that. There are some of the best agents in the world that work for the FBI as well. They also have the best resources of most anybody in the world. Nobody's saying that the FBI is incompetent. So if anybody is suggesting that that's what's being said, you're wrong. So you didn't take.
Well, I think that's,
accurately.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they're all incompetent. I'm saying there's probably 70% of them are dumb.
I don't know if incompetent is the word. The thing is this: many of them operate in an office environment.
Right.
Many of their investigations are financial crimes, they're documentary crimes,
White collar.
And when they get into the arena of street enforcement, many of them lack the experience that your average cop in even a medium-sized city has with dealing with offenders, dealing with violent offenders, and dealing with people who are committing crimes. So I don't think it's a case of being incompetent. It's a case of let's turn it around. You could say I'm incompetent if you stuck me into a white collar crime unit.
Yeah, exactly.
I just say, give me some crayons and turn the paper over, and I'll draw pictures, because I can't do white collar crime. So it's an idea of fitting the square peg into the round hole, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think about, there are probably 3 out of 10 that are great people, and they're good cops, and they get it done. But you got to also be honest and look at and go, first of all, you need to ask yourself a question: who's ever made that comment? How many domestic violence calls do FBI agents respond to?
None.
Though they might in Alaska on a military base because it's federal property. I don't know. But in America, okay, just in Texas alone, do you know there are over 500 counties, 500 sheriffs in Texas alone? How many of those sheriff's departments respond to domestic violence calls? Every one of them. Tens of thousands of them. How many FBI agents respond to a domestic violence call in Texas? The answer is 0.
So why?
Are we to say that the FBI who shows up knows more about domestic violence?
No, they're not trained. They're not trained for that.
Well, that's the problem.
The arena of specialized knowledge.
It's the perception of everybody says, well, how dare you insult the FBI? I'm not insulting all of the FBI. I'm insulting the concept of this idea that says they know all things. They don't. Okay, period. They don't walk on water. Just like I'm not an accountant. My degree is not in accounting. Okay. And so it's as simple as that. That's all I'm saying. And, folks have to realize that we worked in a town that had the largest military installation in the United States in terms of the first, Camp Pendleton. We had 50,000 Marines. And guess what? The FBI didn't work a single crime out in our town. When there were homicides in our town, the FBI didn't show up. Never have and never will. But am I to sit here and say, yeah, they know more than I do about homicides in Oceanside? The answer is no. And guess what? I never worked a homicide on Camp Pendleton.
So why would the FBI be involved in this at all?
Because they have resources. And that's why Nonads, who doesn't like them, and unlike, what I'm saying here, I like the FBI because they have a lot of resources. But just like Nano said in the press conference, and let's go back to his press conferences, where they stepped up and they said, this is the role of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. They put it out there. I didn't put it out there. They put it out there. This is our role. What did Kash Patel say? Well, we were shut out for 4 days and we had resources.
He said no comment today.
And what they come to the table with, evidence resources, cellular forensics resources, a lot of manpower that you can put out quickly.
FBI. The FBI is the nation's lead federal investigative and domestic intelligence agency. Its special agents have the broadest jurisdiction of any agency, covering over 200 categories of federal crime. Their primary investigative priorities include counterterrorism, counterespionage, major cybercrime, public corruption, organized crime, and complex white-collar financial fraud. They are the principal investigative.
Something happened so he just threw major shade and called 70% of the FBI dumb. That's rich coming from law enforcement officials who, I don't know, what's the stats on law enforcement being dumb? Anybody know? Asking for a friend. Can we pull that up? Somebody Google it. What's the statistics on cops being dumb? We got 70% on the FBI. Yes, she was. And also on the InfraGard team. She speaks of it occasionally and claims to also have a source saying there may be an arrest soon or getting closer to identifying Porch Guy. And someone may or may not need the high defense profile attorney. Miss Ma'am's been a little confusing lately. I didn't go live and talk about it, but they did have a show on tomorrow's topic. Shout out over there because they're the only ones I've seen that talked about it besides me. There may be a few channels out there, I don't know, about the geofence warrant stuff, right? They had a lot to say, being from law enforcement's perspective, right? Compared to the way I've always sat with geofence. I've talked about it for over a year here. The constitutionality of the geofence warrants, right? And all that's coming into play now again. And the Supreme Court just had a ruling on it, in the Shotry case, whatever it's called, and it's back at the lower. Anyway, I'm going to have a show tomorrow about that. But over at Big City Crime, they actually did a video on it as well. I was like, oh, nice. We can take a look at that during the show and get a law enforcement's perspective on these geofence warrants, right? All right, y'all, I don't know what to make of all that nonsense right there, calling law enforcement or 70% of FBI dumb, and, Maureen O'Connell just sings their praises. Actually, a few other. Now, I did see one, listen to the podcast. What is it? It's Maureen's podcast over on like Apple, Spotify, all the things. Jim Clemente is on there with her. Um, Worst Case, Best Case, I think it's called. Over there, they had a show and they had Chris and Dr. Gary on, and they got some pushback from Clemente. And I was like, oh, I'm here for this. Let me get some more coffee. So I don't know. I think he might have been playing Kissy Kiss when he first saw Maureen on the YouTubes. And it's like, oh, people like her. Let me get her up here on this panel. And then she went and joined Big City Dan, her Chicago peeps. Right? I don't know. Crazy world out there which we live in. Got to bump it down to 68% now that Jennifer Coffindaffer is off the FBI. There we go. TC coming in with the stats. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Kalela does have court tomorrow. Go figure, right? All this rumbling about these letters, real or not. Again, here we go. TMZ is getting more stuff from south of the border guy. I got a phone now with video. I didn't just see stuff 5 days later. I also got the video of it now. Okay, all this is happening. Is the FBI misleading us about these notes all of a sudden? Cash, no comment. Now we got TMZ coming out. Our, Enton, Matt, people are saying not so fast. Or, they're still on the table. Nobody knows. And Howard Bloom had been on Jay just a couple hours before all that and was saying that the letter contained information about her, Nancy's medication in a row left behind. In a row, like on the nightstand, on the bathroom counter, kitchen counter, not in a pill box Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. None of that, because I'm like, that's how we'll know if she skipped a dose for sure. All this speculation on her skipping this 10 p.m. dose, like how would any of us know? Because I've not seen it confirmed anywhere. I've seen the speculation, don't know how they ever got there without going into her room and counting her pills. If you've ever been a caretaker, you know that you got to do that. 9 times out of 10, you have a pill box Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can put 4 to 5 a day in if they got multiple doses, so you can keep it all organized and straight, and you'll know when you've skipped a dose. Always felt that's a no-brainer and easy to figure out. But where was this row of medication? Apparently it's fake. Watch on the floor, white band, Apple Watch on the floor. Somebody had a really good guess there, unless it was Annie and she knew all of this. She's like, I heard someone's speculation. Maybe Tom wrote the first letter, demanding the Bitcoin, or else. Then something happened. Oh God, now we got to do something. Here comes the empathy part and the female part. And the person who wrote the first letter didn't agree with the second person who sent the second letter with the feminine tone and the poetry stuff, because what are you doing? Well, we got to make it look good and say all this. Well, while we're at it, let's prop open some back doors. Hey, how about putting on a mask and running around in front of the camera? I don't know. Clothing description of what Ms. Nancy Guthrie was wearing the night she was taken. Was that a good guess as well? Let me see. Hold on. Do I still have this? Let me look. From this photo, can we tell what all Ms. Nancy had in her room for sleepwear, pajamas? Was her medicine lined up over here on the shelf with the plants are no longer there at this day and age? New shelf maybe. Now we got medicines lined up in a row possibly. Where were those hearing aids sitting? Where was that watch being charged at? Where's all the stuff? Where did you keep your pajamas, Ms. Nancy, on the foot of the bed? Did your children know what you wore all the time, like most people know what their mamas wear? Y'all don't venture into your mama's room ever. Y'all don't know y'all have no clue what your mom wears to bed at night. Maybe y'all should educate yourself about it in case she goes missing by morning. Notice what kind of slippers are her favorite. if you don't know those things, know your surroundings. So, I don't know what's going on with these letters. Dolphin says someone at the FBI probably thinking that Harvey talks too much. Maybe he wasn't supposed to share what he was told. Maybe, but he's not the only one that's been sharing what was said in the first two letters. I don't think people really hold a lot of stock in south of the border guy stuff, right? I got a phone, all the things, whatever, what all he claims to have. The first two really should be, because I think we all feel like south of the border guy is probably full of shit, right? What about these first two? Somebody sent them, and it wasn't south of the border guy. Was too much said about what was in those, because Brianna Whitney came out and also who saw them, went on Ashley Banfield and went a little more in depth about what was the wording of the letters and her thoughts. And that's where she said she didn't feel like it was AI or chat GTP, and she tells exactly why. She explains why she felt that way. There's a lot of information out there about the notes from people who saw the notes that I've been paying attention to, right? So trying to get there, but I feel like maybe it is the FBI misleading us, Dolphin, at this point about the notes. What if there is something to them and they don't want it all out there because they ain't found the guy or girl yet? Maybe they didn't yield enough evidence in their initial searches of the home and car to yield enough. No digital data, even nothing, not a zilch. No homeless person come forward and ratted them out yet. So I don't know why they haven't got there yet, right? So I guess we will continue to report as things become available. As they make up their mind, maybe Cash will go get a meeting now. He'll call up the Phoenix field office. He'll be like, dude, what the fuck is happening down there in Arizona? I got rogue agents on my hand, man. What am I going to do? I might need a drink. I don't know for sure. Allegedly, he might need a drink. America's go-to. Not mine. My go-to's in a jar. and they taste good. Oh, and this cup of magic sauce and this cup of coffee. I got magic sauce. Faye helps contribute to my magic sauce. Faye, it is my magic sauce all because of you. You sprinkle a little magic into that coffee donation, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I always thought the various letters were hoaxes, maybe from basic scammers. I think seemingly personal knowledge could have been. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think we can all agree there's elaborate scammers out there, right? Especially that hide behind other countries and their VPNs. Foreigners don't speak our English really well. We'll probably need translation. All the things it should all be on the table. Is it harder to identify them because they're in another country and using these VPNs and all the things to cover their tracks? Apparently so, because the FBI can't find them yet. So I can only figure they're using elaborate methods to cover up who they are. And who does that? Scammers, right? Well, it could have been someone who saw the crime scene, like the watch being on the floor. Here's the thing. Do we have photos from the crime scene of that watch being on the floor when we first made entry, right? Before it got trampled around on, when Annie and Tom called, there was a lot of there's a lot of speculation about that timeline going on out there. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how y'all got there, but do you? Take all that away. When Annie called the cops and they get there and see us, I mean, they start going in and taking evidence at this point, and they find that watch somewhere on the floor. Take a picture right then with the evidence markers, right? Is it broken? Is it just laying there as if it got knocked off? Or was it, you can tell if it was snatched off, it'll be broken, right? It's a no-brainer. Where's the picture of that watch on the floor? And who was the first ones to discover it? So if we put that into the play, then somebody on the inside is now sending the letters, right? Are they good at covering their tracks? Pima County, you better find your people. You FBI's got folks running amok, and Pima County does too. We've seen that. You got a rogue cop on your hands, sir. the sacred nectar of the goddess. What the fuck up. Wake the fuck up, Simi. That's beautiful, actually. Yeah, thank you, Faye. All right, so let's move on to the Alex Murdaugh case. Oh boy. We all know if you don't know, he got a new trial granted because he had the clerk of court, Miss Becky Hill, over there running amok. She's running loose in the wild, doing a little bit of messery behind the scenes with the jury over there. Got Alex a whole new murder trial now because of it. Way to go, Becky. So there was a hearing the other day in the case. All right. So the Supreme Court assigned Judge Deborah McCaslin to the case now. It appears right now she has the trial scheduled for April 5th of 2027. She made the comment that she does not do continuances on trials. She said, y'all need to get it together, have it together, don't come at me sideways at the last minute. August 14th is the next pretrial hearing. They need to resolve so they got to resolve evidence disputes before the trial with a strict deadline, is what she said, ordering all legal motions to be submitted by August 7th. And she wants all the complex issues settled ahead of trial. That sounds like the Ada County judge talking over there. What was his name? Koberger's second judge. His name just left me. All right, let me pull up my... She wants all those complex issues settled before the trial. Becky Hill was a whole mess. Lord, gonna write books about it, she thought, and all kind of stuff, didn't she? What is wrong with some people out there? Ugh. So, it was also, she deferred a ruling on DNA. This DNA is from fingernail clippings from Maggie Murdaugh's left hand. Apparently, there was some DNA found, and it was not tested during the first trial. The judge requested that both parties provide more information on this DNA and how long the analysis will take using new technology, and is the DNA sample even viable? We'll see. It is the DNA they're referring to is SLED item number 70. And he said in court that he wants Othram Lab to test it. And what he means by that, I'm assuming before Othram can touch it, they have to develop the STR profile from the DNA under the clippings at a state lab, like SLED, for instance. Would be a good idea. They may be outsourcing it now. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out. And Faye, you didn't. Oh, I did. You did not need to do that. Thank you. I was not. Please, you didn't need to do that. We will have coffee on panel when we're ready. You know what? I'm almost ready. School ends first week of August. Okay, awesome. We're coming up, and it's actually that's actually a good time. Okay, cool. I'm making a note. Hold on. It's a coffee date. Okay. So they want Othram to review it, right? So they got to get that STR profile. Then what Othram does is they develop an SNP, because that's a whole different DNA profile they have to use for genetic genealogy. And CC Moore explains that beautifully over and over and over in a lot of places, right? And that's what they do at Othram Labs. They take the STR profiles that get developed, and then they develop an SNP from that, and then they enter the legal databases and start performing genetic genealogy. Othram's like, sure, we'll do it. Got some money Money, money, money. So there we are. Let's see. Let's pull up an article about it. Let's take a look at what the article says. And we're going to look at what the hearing looked like. Now, does this DNA mean anything? Is it just some transferred DNA under Maggie's nails from her day? Does I always, people, how often people wash their hands, right? Did Maggie go about her whole day before ending up at the kennel without washing her hands? Was there still a trace? How much of this DNA is actually there? How is this a viable sample, right? A lot of things are questionable about this sample. Doesn't mean anything. Why was it not tested first round? It had to be tested to some extent if they're saying it didn't match Alex Murdaugh and it didn't match his son. Before I forget, was this clip you played earlier no, I have not posted that yet. Sub, I'll link you. Hang on, making a note. It's not for public consumption yet. I can change it at any time, though. You can view it if I send you a link. And I usually I go back in later and then I do just that, make them public or whatever. I got nothing to hide. I didn't say all that. He did. I just question it, right? Isn't that that's legal, right? Not illegal. Am I in trouble? Am I going to need one of the fancy YouTube defense attorneys now? Because Chris McDonough, my ex-cop, may come at me. I don't know. I'm scared. Should I be nervous? I'll send out the bat signal to my Twitter buddies. Don't mess with me. I got friends in low places. You never know where my friends be lurking. Okay, let's pull up the article and see what it has to say about this DNA. Is Alex going to hang his whole new trial on this DNA? Is that all they got, right? What else they got? Y'all, how many of y'all actually saw his first trial? I'm curious to know that. Throw a one in the chat, as they say, if y'all saw Alex Murdaugh's first trial. There we go. Thanks, sub. I appreciate that subtext. Okay, so Alex Murdaugh. How many of y'all saw the first trial? Y'all let me know. We got a few watchers. Faye, you saw it. You saw it, Boop. Okay. Simi, my feral friend. I wouldn't expect any other comment. I love it. Rachel saw it. Okay. Yeah. Simi's going to throw that out there. We can't help it. All right. Valley Girl saw it. All right. So y'all think, what else could he bring to the table this time, right? Like, what, dude? Becky got you a new trial, but what does that mean, right? How would that look different this time? Are we banking it all on DNA under Maggie's nails? Columbia, South Carolina. Alex Murdaugh wants an independent laboratory to review the DNA evidence collected under his murdered wife's fingernail. His attorneys are moving for an order requiring the state to produce DNA evidence for testing. Murdaugh, once a prominent Low Country attorney, is serving 2 life terms after a jury previously convicted him on March 2nd, 2023, of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul. He was granted a new trial in May. The evidence in question was collected under Maggie Murdaugh's left hand and her left hand fingernail at the scene of the crime. Was it just one fingernail or multiple? At the scene of the crime, according to the motion filed. SLED, the motion states, determined that the DNA was from an unknown, unrelated male and that no further analysis was attempted. Oh, yikes. The evidence, however, is crucial to the defense, the motion read. Murdaugh's lawyers have contacted a company, Othram Inc., that say is well known and specializes in the use of forensic genetic genealogy to resolve unsolved murders. Othram has told Murdaugh's counsel that they believe that they can conduct a more thorough analysis of the DNA sample. Othram told Murdaugh's counsel they believe they can conduct a more thorough analysis of the sample. You mean an S&P profile? And an IgG tree. Gotcha. However, this testing takes considerable time, and a rush order would be needed. Of course, it would be needed. We're going to go to trial soon. Well, next year, April. How much time are we talking, Othram? It didn't take y'all long to get to Koberger's relatives, in reality. Actually, I should pull up the timeline on that, actually. Didn't take long in reality. Long as the people got their information in the DNA databases, we'll get there. But it may take some considerable time, and they could do a rush order if needed. Murdaugh's legal team filed both this motion and the official motion for a change of venue on Tuesday. So, Othram has offered to do it, and they could do it, and they could expedite the services and all the things. I'm sure that it's going to cost money. I'm sure that Murdaugh's people will try to find a way to pay for it. I think he's so when Gigi was hosting the hearing, I think I asked in chat who's paying for Murdaugh's attorneys this go round, right? And I think it was it Happy, maybe not, maybe somebody else who commented that he was doing it pro bono. Let me see. Who is paying Murdaugh? You know, the cost of these defenses bothers me. I don't want anybody to have to pay out I can't even say the word. It's so scary. An astronomical figure to defend oneself this day and age in America. I hear it's expensive. $8 million for Koberger. Alan Jackson talks about trust funds that we need to get a hold of. I don't have one of those, man. What? I'm in trouble if something bad happens around me. It's like, who is paying for those attorneys? Will the state have to pay for this outsourced testing? Don't know what I mean. I know. I made that short for people to send out the bat signal to Trisha to let her know that Alex needs some help from Othram. She might can expedite it. She's got connections, right? Somebody go let Trisha know she's needed. Trisha, you're actually needed by Alex, by a murderer. She's going to have some ex-con over there on her end of the world thingy, party, whatever she calls it. Alex Murdaugh's defense attorneys, Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, are primarily working without compensation as the money has ran out. Their initial trial costs were funded through a 401k account, but a judge blocked the release of remaining retirement funds to pay Murdaugh's appeals, redirecting that fund to his financial victims. The situation regarding his legal expenses break down as follows. Initial trial funding. Harpootlian and Griffin initially accessed about $600,000 from Murdaugh's 401k account to fund his 6-week murder trial. They reported that $518,722 of that went out of pocket, leaving about leaving about $81,000 for attorney fees. Now, I just got my hands last night on some of the documents in the Idaho Statesman lawsuit trying to get the attorney fees for Brian Koberger, $8 million defense. So that's on the agenda for this week as well. appeal funding blocked in 2023, the defense team requested an additional 160 grand from the remaining untamed 401k balance to fund his murder conviction appeal. However, a judge denied the motion, ruling that the House assets should be preserved for the victims of his financial crimes through a court-ordered receivership. Well, well. They must have, they got faith. That's okay. Gotta have faith. What do you got if you don't got no faith? You'll bake me a cake with a file in it? Do it. Can I request what kind? Nuh-uh. Xfinity held you hostage on the phone for no way. Mm-mm. They tend to do that shit. We're about to pull up the hearing, Rachel. Let's hear for ourselves what happened in this hearing. So I like this judge too. I don't know her, so I really don't. I can only judge her by this one time seeing her. So far, we did notice when we were in Gigi's chat that this judge don't mind miking up, right? There's none of that. Oh my God, judge, could you talk louder? Bullshit happening. And here we'll also get to hear Harpootlian explain the Idaho 4 case and that Othram connection to the Idaho 4 case, Judge. They solved it. They solved that big old murder case down there in Idaho with them victims. Yeah, so, dude, what would a kind of work? I'm not making fun of your southern drawl. I'm from the South, just not your neck of the woods South. But if you're going to do it right. You can't go into court and speak misinformation to a judge in a courtroom and want me to take you seriously right then and there. Like, what? You're already starting off bad. People call him Poot because his name is Hart Pootlian. And you know how we like to come up with names on the internet for people. Uh-oh, let me get... What do you want, kitty kitty? Hang on, let me do it this way. I have it. Sorry. Let me get it set before I bring it up. It works much better. Oh, man. That kitty cat's nails are a little sharp. Trying to walk on me. Okay, let me get this set where we need to start. You requested orange cake with chocolate icing. Forrest has a birthday coming up too. That sounds really good, Forrest, actually. Damn. Wish I could. We had like virtual taste, right? He is so far away. How can we keep it fresh when you send me some? I don't bake the cakes, but I might. That sounds so good, I might try. I am craving like summer stuff, right? All the summer things. All right, let me get this ready if it's going to cooperate now. It had a moment. Because we don't need to see all the nonsense that's going on in the courtroom until it starts. Where's the judge walking in? Good Lord. Isn't it wild how long you sit in the courtrooms until they shit actually starts happening? All right, here we go. Karen Reed flashbacks. The only fan. Oh my God. Make it stop. God, make it stop. Faye, you're a June baby like your daddy. Me, my granddaughter, and my pawpaw, we're all June. We're June babies. My granddaughter's my June bug, right? Her birthday's a couple of days before mine. My daughter and Forrest have the same birthday coming up. Okay, so here we go. We'll start watching this. This is Alex Murdaugh in court for his a status hearing, basically. And like I said, the judge has got the trial set right now for April 5, 2027. She's got the next pretrial hearing set for August 14th. She's trying to lay out a straight deadline for any and all motions, arguments, any evidence, all the things you need to hammer out before you need to do it. And that's what we do all this before trial for, right? So I like when judges come out and do that coming out of the gate. And they don't play around with all these, continuances. Because we are trying to keep costs down in the American justice system. We should all strive for that cost effective, but don't sacrifice justice in the meantime. So let's cut the bullshit and the red tape with your continuances. I agree with you, ma'am. Here we go. Let's play the hearing. Let me get the sound on. It would help us.
For those of you who've never been to Lexington County, welcome to the Lexington County Courthouse. Please. Are you ready to call? Can you call it? Give it right back to me. All right, we're here for a status conference. I'm going to get the clerk to call the case, please.
In the matter of State of South Carolina versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, indictment number 2022 GS 15 00592 through 595.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Waters, how are you?
Good morning, Your Honor. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Now, let me ask you, I know some of your counsel at the table, but I don't know all of them. Can you please just let me know who the state's team is?
So I have David Fernandez, Assistant Deputy Attorney General David Fernandez. He's my number 2 in the state grand jury section. I have my boss, Mr. Don Zelenka.
I know.
We have John Metters as well.
I know Mr. Meadows.
See, Your Honor. You may see at various times we have Assistant Attorney General Walt Whitmire, Senior Assistant Deputy Attorney General Melody Brown.
Right. Welcome. Let me, Mr. Harpootlian, can you tell me, I think I know just about everybody at your table, maybe not everybody, but can you introduce the defense?
Mr. Court, Your Honor. This is Jim Griffin.
Mr. Griffin?
Did the guy who did was it the Hulu special that we all watched a while back? They got the right guy to play Alex Murdaugh, right? He really did look a lot like them. That's like I see that image when I see him sitting there. This guy is so weird.
Barbara.
Mr. Barber, good to have you. Okay. All right. I've made some notes on a status conference, and I'll let y'all talk in just a little bit. But I want to go over what I want to go over. Because I want to make sure that all the discovery in this case is complete. And I made some notes, and let me tell y'all, I don't know anything about the first trial, so when you tell me something, please be complete when you tell me, because don't assume that I know, because I don't. I want to know about phone records Do we have all the phone records, and are they complete? Text messages, cell phone extractions, and if there's any supplemental extractions, video recordings, whether there's ballistic firearms, are we complete in that? Fingerprints, toxicology. I think there was a blood splatter expert last time. I just want to know where we are with these discovery items. I'll let the state address that, please.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. So we have provided, and obviously,
She done took her notes and she's on top of it. She's like the phone records, the videos, the ballistics, the fingerprints, the toxicology, everything. Y'all don't play me today. We're here for it, ma'am. All right, so now they're going to answer their questions. This is what she meant by get all of this done pre-trial, right? All of this evidence I know y'all going to bring at me.
provided well in advance of the first trial, very extensive discovery. I'm not aware of anything in the items that you mentioned that have not been provided to the defense. And if anything, the defense has more than the state does, because a very heavy privilege review was done, for example, on Murdoch's phone, and formerly being an attorney and that sort of thing. So it's my understanding complete extractions were provided to them, whereas the prosecution team, the investigative team, only received the privilege review.
Clayton, get on the mic. You know the deal. And Forrest, I agree.
Some of the extractions as relates to his phone and that sort of thing. As always, we are constantly auditing and looking at everything, but I'm not aware of any discovery from the various.
Rachel, that's why she was appointed by the Supreme Court, because she's got nothing to do with that first trial note. She shouldn't know a damn thing about it, right? She should have no preconceived notions going in. Democracy, right? Right to a fair trial, all those things. She shouldn't have anything to do with it at all. So we agree with that determination by the Supreme Court, don't we?
Productions that were made, not only from just the murder investigations, but also from the very extensive state investigations as well. So he has provided those. Obviously, I'm not aware of anything in the county boards that you mentioned that have not been provided to me.
And not anything that needs to be reanalyzed or anything that the court would be waiting on?
At this time, no. Now, as you're aware, and we, of course, sent our responses to everyone last night to the defense motions that were filed late last week. Came in the office Sunday to write those. That one of those is their request for independent testing on DNA. So we put it in our motion, and I actually got an email from Mr. Griffin this morning that if they want to have their defense expert reach out to SLED as to specifically what capabilities they think they have and what they're proposed to do, I'm happy to facilitate those conversations and discuss those with the defense, and then with Your Honor if necessary. Right now, that's kind of where we stand on that. And of course, any other issues that arise along those lines, we're very reasonable, and we're perfectly willing to discuss those with the defense. And if there's something that we can't agree on, obviously we'll raise those to the court.
Okay. All right, Mr. Harpootlian or Mr. Griffin?
I want to address everything but the DNA.
Right, I'll talk about the DNA later.
So we don't know what we don't know. And I'll give you an example. And let me hand this up to Your Honor and hand copies too.
We don't know what we don't know. We don't know nothing today. We haven't got a clue. Seriously, we're so confused today. FBI and fake notes and stuff. He ain't lying, is he, y'all?
Your Honor, this is a transcript of an interview done with a guy named Chapman and another officer who were the folks that arrived on the scene to begin with, to process the scene, and were very involved in the forensics of processing the scene. And if you go to page 6, Chapman, who's in charge of the scene, says this. This is a television interview on March 13th.
Look at Alex looking at him, Rachel. He's like, dude, could you do it this way? I told you not to do it like that. Do it this way.
10 days after the verdict in this case. He says, in response to the question, I believe he had some help in the aftermath. Or Rutland, yes. Captain Chapman, you know, the disposal of weapons, the moving around a vehicle. We heard so much about SLED and AG's office, and they don't have anything. It's all circumstantial. So I pose this question to you. It was a clean crime scene, staged crime scene, clean crime scene. Would you expect to find more evidence or less? And that's what's kind of hard to get people to understand is we didn't find a lot. But why we didn't find a lot? Because it was clean. I mean, it was manipulated. There's evidence removed from the scene. Now, this is 10 days after the trial. This is not what Chapman testified to. And if Chapman has evidence, there were other people at the scene, that he had assistance under their theory, or there were other people there. We need to have that furnished to us. And we have other witnesses that testified at trial are saying something totally different.
Now, Brian Enton's also done an interview with the ex-housekeeper, right? Former housekeeper. And I need to review some of that stuff because I don't know how it's going to come into play or if it will in trial number 2. But she's saying that she has information and knows there were other people present at these dog kennels that helped clean up after he murdered his wife and son. What, ma'am? Shouldn't the prosecution be all over that? But it's, well, so we'll have to investigate.
Indicating there's evidence to believe that somebody else was at the scene, or there were other people at the scene. I mean, this guy's the chief guy in charge of the scene, along with Rutland, who processed it that night. We need, and we're in the process of doing this, to determine if they put other statements or the reports. So we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't have. We need some period of time to try to process that. And Your Honor, I say this, and no emphasis on trying to, we're not alleging that the state has hidden anything from us. We do know there were people that came to see us that said they had important information. We have no ability to investigate anything. We don't have subpoenas, we don't have grand jury, we don't have search warrants. And 2 or 3 of those people we sent to SLED. Did they follow up? One had extraordinary evidence about a tie-in between Paul's murder and the murder of a young man named Stephen Smith.
Do what? A lot of what? Between what? Or why are we bringing up Stephen Smith in this courtroom if he's got nothing to do with Alex Murdaugh's boys? Huh. Interesting. And I caught that when we were watching it in Gigi's chat. What are y'all bringing up Stephen for? I'm listening.
But we had no, I can't compel anybody to come anywhere. We sent that to SLED. Did they investigate it? They investigated, and I must tell you, there are a lot of pieces of information out there that, and maybe they just stopped once they got the conviction, didn't do anything else, that it's inconsistent with our desire to get a conviction, or have a conviction held, so they didn't follow it up. Maybe it does need to be followed up. But we're going to have to go back and look at all of that. We're going to have to determine whether or not additional material was developed since the trial. And of course, all of us were shocked by the court report's conduct in the trial. I know we were, I know the state was. But it's hard for us to go back and look at, and we haven't done a thorough check of all the testimony and read it all, not in the sense of an appeal, which we've done, but in the sense of, in criminal cases, we don't have depositions. We don't have them here. We have a transcript of but not every, I'm sure they're going to get rid of some of these witnesses. They're horrible for the time around. We get additional witnesses. But most of the witnesses, we have their transcript, their deposition. We need to go back and read all of that and get a sense of how you process. It's like you would in a civil case. So I can't say that we've got it all. I can't say that we don't have it all. Again, I don't know what I don't know, but I think we will be very diligent. And one of the other things we talked about Murdaugh's access to that information in a way that makes it convenient for him and doesn't inconvenience anybody else. We'll talk about that.
He's a little hard to hear. He's fixing to ask the court for special. Can we get Alex access to the computers and all that discovery and blah blah blah? The judge is gonna be like, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
I'll get to your motions in just a little bit. What I really want to know is about phone records, text messages, cell phones, video recordings, toxicology, fingerprints. You have all that discovery.
We're not sure, but we need to review it as if we were getting ready as it's brand new. I can't. Just because we looked at it 5 years ago, 4 years ago, doesn't mean we know we have it. And we'll be diligent in doing that, but certainly I would think it'll take us some period of time to review that.
Yeah, no. I'll start now in during the trial.
Right. One of the points, reminding me.
Shouldn't they have discussed some of that over coffee, on the porch? Shit.
We did not have
some bourbon out back later.
Have OnStar data on Mr. Murdaugh's vehicle until halfway through the trial. That is not the Attorney General's call. That is GMC's call for not furnishing it. We had to do that on the run. We want to go back and analyze that, and have an expert analyze that even more. I do want to emphasize the Attorney General got it at the same time we got it. No inference, anything improperly.
Okay.
So that's part of what we need to do. We need to hire additional experts based on some of the views we now have on some of the witnesses.
They need to hire additional experts. I wonder who's going to pay for that. State? Alex, what, indigent? You're like pro bono in it over here. Who's going to pay for those experts? I hear tell they charge money for your narrative or for their expert opinion.
Both the state and the defense have, and they need to examine those reports to determine whether we have it. So it's going to take a little bit of time, Judge. I can't tell you today we have everything because we don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Waters, what about the OnStar data? Do you have all of that?
Yes, ma'am. So, Your Honor, we actually SLED had sent 2 search warrants to GM well in advance of the trial, and we're told, you ain't got it. And I think what happened was during the course of the trial, we actually had the FBI buy a Suburban and essentially reverse engineer the black box in the Suburban.
What? Hold on. I was trying to swallow my pizza. I missed that first trial. Oh, did I hear the word reverse engineer? FBI bought a car. What? Oh boy. Where's all that car data that was used in the first trial?
Telemetry data, which of course is all provided to the defense. I think when that testimony came out during trial, somebody at GM was watching and they were like, uh-oh. And so in the middle of the trial, I get a phone call saying, about all that OnStar data, actually, we got a bunch of it. We immediately advised the judge, advised the defense, provided that to the usual form.
These dudes better get on the microphone. Hold just a minute.
We were, I know the state was. But it's hard for us to go back and look at, and we haven't done a thorough check of all the testimony and read it all, not in the sense of an appeal, which we've done, but in the sense of, in criminal cases, we don't have depositions. We don't have them here. We have a transcript of but not every, I'm sure they're going to get rid of some of these witnesses before.
There's not a doubt in my mind that Alex Murdaugh killed his wife and son in the kennels. I watched trial one. I watched all the pre-trial publicity, all the things, right? But if you got evidence issues, you got evidence issues. That's not our fault. That's weird.
For example, we get additional witnesses. But most of the witnesses.
Remember all that reverse engineering and Karen Reed buying vehicles and doing weird tests?
We have their transcripts, their deposition. We need to go back and read all of that. We need to get a sense of how you prosecute, just like you would in a civil case. So I can't say that we've got it all. I can't say that we don't have it all. Again, I don't know what I don't know. But I think we will be very diligent. And one of the other things we talked about Murdaugh's access to that information in a way that makes it convenient for him and doesn't inconvenience anybody else. We'll talk about that. That's another motion. We'll talk about that.
I'll get to your motions in just a little bit. What I really want to know is about phone records, text messages, cell phones, video recordings, toxicology, fingerprints. You have all that discovery.
We're not sure. But we need to review it as if we were getting ready as it's brand new. I can't.
How do you come up with "we're not sure"? What did you use in your evidence first time? Did they destroy all the stuff after the trial was over? Like, oh God, we're done here. Get rid of it all. Bonfire, everybody. Come on over to the house. Barbecue. What?
We looked at it 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Doesn't mean we know we have it. And we'll be diligent in doing that.
We do not enjoy seeing a sloppy prosecution. Sorry. What's going on with that prosecution stuff? And the defense is like, we don't have this. We don't know that. We don't do it. Everybody's like, why is they all so confused? This is trial 2. Karen Reed's attorneys had their shit together for trial 2. They're like, what do we do different in trial 1? We're going to do different here. Let's get, okay, yeah, we got a game plan. Let's go. And it worked out.
But certainly I would think it'll take us some period of time to review that.
Yeah, no. I'll start out in the trial.
Right. One of the points reminding me, we did not have OnStar data on Mr. Murdaugh's vehicle until halfway through the trial. That is not the Attorney General's fault.
They got that halfway through the trial, and the prosecution interrupts the Attorney General's office. Something. What? Halfway through the trial? Yeeks, that's not cool.
That is GMC's fault for not furnishing it. We had to do that
I promise you, I'll look. I will look for you.
On the run. We want to go back and analyze that, and have an expert analyze that even more. I do want to emphasize the Attorney General got it at the same time we got it. No inference to anything improperly.
Okay.
So that's part of what we need to do. We need to hire additional experts based on some of the views we now have on some of the witnesses, both the state and the defense have. And they need to examine those reports to determine whether we have it. So it's going to take a little bit of time, Judge. I can't tell you today we have everything because we don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Waters, what about the OnStar data? Do you have all of that?
Yes, ma'am. So, Your Honor, we actually SLED and sent 2 search warrants to GM well in advance of the trial, and we're told we ain't got it. And I think what happened was...
So they sent 2 warrants, SLED did, ahead of trial to GM, trial 1, and they come back and said, we ain't got nothing. And they're like, now we tried this.
During the course of the trial, we actually had the FBI buy a Suburban and essentially reverse engineer the black box in the Suburban.
FBI buys a model just like that and reverse engineers the black box.
This telemetry data, which of course was all provided to the defense.
The telemetry data.
I think when that testimony came out during trial, somebody at GM was watching and they were like, uh-oh. And
somebody at GM was watching during the first trial and went, uh-oh. What in the hell? Uh-oh.
So in the middle of the trial, I get a phone call saying, about all that OnStar data, actually, we got a bunch of it. We immediately advised the judge, advised the defense,
Gotta immediately advise the judge in defense of what? What they said that's incorrect? What?
That to the usual form, they assisted and agreed to go forward because each had our theories about what had happened next. So that was nothing with the fault of the state, and we immediately engaged in what we needed to do to ensure the defense had access to all that information. As to him saying, we don't know what we don't know, well, I know my obligations are, and if I have knowledge of something that's disclosable, then it's been disclosed. And so to imply that there's something out there, I mean, we're always constantly auditing that and doing our obligations, but I take discovery obligations very, very seriously. And knows that. As far as these musings, I haven't watched this TV interview. The musings of some captain about whether the scene was clean. Well, there was evidence presented at trial that it was standing water on the concrete pad of the kennels, that the hose was not put back the way that it normally was coiled by the person who was in charge of taking care of those kennels. So he may have been talking about that, but ultimately, while Colleton responded initially, the scene actually was in charge of the process by SLED, and they've had access to all that information.
So when the FBI reverse engineered data on this black box, did they get it wrong for GM to step up and go, uh-oh? Right? There's going to be a million people out there telling us how this works. Just like, Nest cameras, right? GM's like, uh-oh. GM makes it, so I'm going to have to go like, what? Can I see a document where GM said what? FBI got it wrong with their reverse engineering?
To sit here and imply that we don't know.
I mean, that guy a while ago did tell us that 70% of those guys were dumb. I mean, I'm just saying.
We don't know. Well, I'll recognize that, but I know that my obligation is to provide that information to the defense, and if I'm aware of it, then it's been provided. And we have done that. They've had it since well before the original trial, and we will continue to do that. And as he freely recognizes, the OnStar data came in late despite our best efforts and was immediately disclosed to them at every opportunity to process that information, and then they agreed, you know what, let's continue on. So that's not anything, any sort of indication of a bad process or practice on both sides.
So the bottom line is they have everything that you have.
To my knowledge, yes, ma'am, and we were very careful about going through all that discovery.
And you don't know of anything else that needs to be analyzed at this time?
Well, again, we have that DNA.
The DNA, and I'm going to get to DNA in just a moment.
Of course, it was analyzed ahead of time. Now, what they're
right.
talking about is some additional capability. And as I expressed in our motion, and Mr. Griffin has responded, I'm happy to facilitate discussions, and if there's some capability out there that's beyond the capability of SLED, and it has a reasonable chance of providing some sort of analysis, then we're happy to do that. Now, of course, as we put in our motion, ultimately there's absolutely no evidence that Maggie Murdoch was in a struggle with anyone, that she had any sort of defensive wounds, that she was scratched any sort of attacker. And we also know that it's very common with how sensitive touch DNA is. We're constantly shedding DNA and picking up DNA from others by
oh God, not with that constant shedding DNA. Here we go again.
shaking hands and doorknobs and all the rest of it. So, this is a bit of a red herring. That doesn't mean that we are not willing to discuss with the defense anything that they want to do, and if reasonable, we're the first to do that. And if that needs to come back to this court, we'll do that as well.
Okay, thank you. Sure.
We know from testimony in the first trial that the chief SLED officer involved admitted he misrepresented things to the grand jury. Since the trial, the case was dismissed, in which he testified because the judge found he was hiding evidence and misrepresenting that. That's the chief officer. No other SLED. But it raises questions with us, not whether that's been withheld by the state, by the prosecution. But did he give them everything he had? Did he do what he did in the subsequent case after the trial when he had evidence? And I think we've got to go through it and look and say, are there gaps here? Are we missing something?
What?
And for us, and look, we want to try this case as quickly as possible. No question about it. But what we don't want to do is not be prepared based on what we now know happened at the first trial. And we'll have a motion probably next week that will expand on that a little bit. We didn't feel that we wanted such a motion as that.
Well, and I don't. You know, I really wanted to go over and see where we were with discovery. I want to set a timeline. I want to set out some pretrial conferences, and I want to set a trial date. That's why we're here today. And I want to go over some of these motions. I think some of them are not substantive, that I could go ahead and rule on those today and be done. And I will set up a pretrial. I'll give y'all some dates and hope you brought your calendars. And we'll.
I'm gonna you have until April to get started. Yeah. You know what? They better not drag the ball. I mean, come on, they can't drop the ball. This is second time, right? Like all this stuff should be already ready to go. I feel like they got some concerns about some of the evidence they used first time that didn't get challenged enough. Might get put to the test this time, starting with that GM data stuff. Oh,
Set a pretrial. I don't know that one pretrial is going to do it for this case. We'll probably have several. And that's fine. The court's amenable to anything that y'all need. And happy to hear what you have. If you find something, Mr. Harpoolian, that you need to bring to the court's attention and you want to file a motion, I am more than happy to hear it. Okay? All right, so let me move on to my next notes. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Experts. Do you know how long? And the reason I'm just asking is because I do want to set a trial date. Believe it or not, overnight when I was assigned this case became the oldest case on my docket. And anybody who knows me knows that I will move an old case. And I intend to do that with this one. So, I'm asking Mr. Waters, expert witnesses, do you know how long you need to get expert witnesses and talk to people and get everything that you need for the prosecution of this case?
Yes, ma'am. So the vast majority of our experts will be SLED. So I think that we are ready, within reason, of course, to do this as expeditiously as possible. We do have another expert who testified from the FBI and things like that, but much of that is the same. And so, as far as the state's position as to scheduling, and I know we've already sort of stated this publicly, that we were trying to do this, before the end of the year, like towards the end.
all right. I'm gonna take it up to where Harpootlian talks to the judge about the DNA. They're finally gonna get to. Maybe. Let me do it this way. Okay, let me move this out of my face. I had to eat some pizza. Y'all, look, it's ridiculous. I live in this one horse town. There's a little restaurant right there. Like it opened a while back. We're like, oh yay, a place to eat finally. Besides that little pizza place right there by the gas station, that's good, decent pizza, but at best. Anyway, last night I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go down there and get me like a plate to go when I stop at the store across the street and get my other items I need. So I go do that and I go across the street and the damn store, the restaurant was closed. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they were closed. So I ended up with pizza and I just had to get me some leftover. All right, let me pull this back up and I want to get it to the timestamp of where they talk about the DNA and what he had to say about the Optum testing and all that good stuff before we head out. And we'll have to sorry, a video started playing in my ear automatically and it just was like really loud. So unexpected. Um, Back to this one. Where's my? Hang on, it's trying to catch up. It went a. We got you, Simi. Thank you. I see that. Thank you for putting it there. Actually. Okay. Let me get to my business here. Let's see. There we go. Fix it this way. All right. Let me get to the timestamps so we can avoid all the extra in between stuff as she's trying to get them to get everything scheduled, get everything in order so we can play ball without getting, you know, completely sidetracked and derailed with a drug out second trial. And you got to have a little different strategy going into the second trial because you got to figure out what, if you can, right? Figure out what went wrong first trial. How do we, no matter what, look at Karen Reed, right? They had a different strategy going in. Of course, very different circumstances, but from an attorney standpoint, you should probably come with a different argument this time. And did the prosecution give them a couple of things to work with, like some untested male DNA and some reverse engineering data that might not be correct? Ow, that's not cool. Will that impact the juror? How many can they seat a fair jury with this case? They've already asked for a change of venue, right? So, what, to a neighboring county that like they don't know about this case by now? How will we get a impartial jury, right? Oh no. Well, the judge is yet to settle that question. So let me make sure we got this in the right spot. Okay. So the judge wants to know more about this DNA struggle.
How long, Mr. Griffin, it's going to take to analyze exactly what it is you're asking for? And I believe it's genetic.
Yes, Your Honor. And the state's response says, give us somebody to talk to at the lab.
Okay.
So
And
that was conveyed to them this morning. The CEO of Othram's name, email, and telephone number.
The CEO of Othram's name, phone number, telephone, all the thing, email, telephone number, and his name. We are very familiar with his name.
They have received the VP of Law Enforcement Division at Othram, his cell phone number, and the client intake person that we use now, that I've been interfacing with, and they will be better able to answer specifically how long it will take. We've agreed to pay for it, and just background information.
Oh, okay, he's agreed to pay for it. We as me and my private funds, or me and my friends. Who's we? They've agreed to pay Othram to test it. Othram's like, yeah, we'll have to put a rush on it now. It takes a minute. Y'all okay with that?
I'm going to let you pay for it.
I love that answer. I'm gonna let you. Yeah, do it. Let him pay for it, right? She ain't paying Othram for shit. She's like, who? David who? He works for who?
Murders happened in 2021. We're in 2026. 2021, there's no such thing as artificial intelligence. In 2021, this genetic genealogy was just on the ground floor. In 2026, we are light years ahead. And so what we're asking for didn't really exist in 2021. It does exist today, and Othram is the leading lab that performs this analysis. Last year, in 2024, the statistics are that they cleared 200 cold cases on behalf of law enforcement around the United States and the country.
Well, they're the leader in the industry. 200 cases solved. They do got a pretty good track record on cold cases.
Work with law enforcement every day. The most high-profile case they did was at the University of Idaho.
Here we go. The biggest high-profile case they did was at the University of Idaho.
The Moscow, Idaho murders that took place about the first week of our trial. College kids were massacred in a house at the University of Idaho. They had a DNA sample they ran through CODIS. Came up nothing. There was nothing. The state of Idaho Police Department, like SLED, had a contract with Othram. They sent the test to Othram. Othram does this genetic genealogy DNA analysis, and it comes back to a family member who'd done a DNA test, ancestry test, of the person who committed these murders, Brian Koberger. That's how they solved the Moscow murder cases, was through Othram Lab.
But they did not catch Koberger. So they got the 4 family members. And he's correct about that. And like he said, they did have the contract with Idaho, right? So any of the labs that perform genetic genealogy, including Parabon, all do the same thing. They all have the same process. Just Othram seems to be the only lab out there really pressing, giving theirself a lot of accolades, giving theirself a lot of press, right? Attention on us. Everybody's going to want to use us. We're the best in the country. We helped solve the Idaho 4 case. Well, we can only use legal methods, don't forget. And if people don't put their names in these databases and submit their DNA, we have nothing. So we need y'all to join Web Sleuths. Get over there and give us your DNA for free, and we won't ask no questions. You don't ask any. In case somebody you know murders somebody, we'll have some DNA to work with. Is that what they're doing over there, that DNA solve stuff? Oh, and you can also get hired by the Web Sleuths. What is it? Is it a partnership with the Othram to go over there and figure out trees, right? Genetic trees? Is that what the fuck? What are they doing over there? And you can Google stuff for them?
The difference between, and they say they don't have enough samples to get through CODIS, and I've talked to the lab about that, and that's not an issue. CODIS uses...
Wait, Forrest, I can't unsee it now. She's like, sir, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, man.
Analysis called STR. This analysis is SNP, and they call it SNPs. CODIS has 20 data points. SNPs has 500,000 data points that they analyze. Now, it takes a while to do that. And so, we're going to have to see.
I don't think it took that long to get to develop that SMP profile off that STR profile that they developed at the Idaho State Lab and passed on over there to Othram, the partnership program where they, had the contract with. I got to look at the timeline on that. It wasn't that long. Koberger, from the time of those murders were committed to arrest, was 6 weeks. They didn't get the DNA off that sheath until days into it, once that profile got developed. Then I got to look at how long it actually took them to land on those relatives of Koberger. There's your timeline. So I don't know if you're accurate in how long Othram wants to drag this out to, getting paid for it and all. They pay by the hour. As somebody concerned about the cost of litigation in America, I would like to see the breakdown of how Othram charges to develop an SMP profile and how much they charge to do a genetic genealogy tree based on the information they have at their fingertips. Interesting. Can I get a witness? Can we get a witness and find that information? That's not a witness, ma'am. That's an investigator or whatever.
But the lab says they've asked me to get information from SLED as to, they'd like to see the electrode ferrogram or mixture proportions so they can have a better handle on it. And I'd ask Mr. Waters to give us a name so that these experts can interface. But what they're doing in Houston, Texas, they don't do in South Carolina at the SLED lab. There are handfuls of labs around the country, and they are they're certified. They work with law enforcement. I don't know that they worked specifically with SLED. They're familiar with SLED when I spoke with them, but they have a whole division.
So you need an expert's name or whoever has this sample to see if there's a viable sample that you can send.
Correct. And they can work with the extract that SLED used when they did their STR analysis.
Okay.
They can take the STR profile, yes, and develop the S&P from that. He is accurate on that now. He might not be as dumbfounded as we all thought. He might be a little smarter than FBI agents. Hear me? Let me see. Testing 1, 2, 3. Am I back? Cool. Okay. I don't know what they did with it. I'm just mad that they're not helping Leo after asking to give or deny permission. Oh, okay. CC once said that Ancestry.com won't let author them. They don't. There's only 3 that will. And Ancestry's never been one of them. They didn't get to use that in the Koberger case. That, what is it? GEDmatch. Hang on. Okay. So the top databases out there, like you would, the most people, the 23andMe, Ancestry.com, none of them allow law enforcement to come into their databases to do this, right? So they're only these contracted labs that are doing IgG can only use the 3 legal databases that allow it. And GEDmatch is the top one. So what can the FBI do that those companies cannot do, y'all? They go in the back door and do whatever they want, including going online to 23andMe or Ancestry.com, setting up a fake account, taking the DNA profile that they have and uploading it, and then getting all the family tree information they need. Welcome to, well, allegedly what the Idaho 4 case, how it got solved. There's a lot of documents in the Idaho 4 on IgG and Othram and the FBI's involvement and a lot of things. And none of that's unsealed, and a lot of it is FBI owned, and we will never ever get it. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there about how Brian Koberger was caught and what the FBI's involvement was. So when we go giving that DNA to the FBI in the Nancy Guthrie case, a glove found. Y'all want to know why that glove 2 miles away bothered me so bad that they were going to run IGG on it? Because I know they're going in the back door and doing illegal. With that glove 2 miles away, then you could put an innocent person in jail based on that glove 2 miles away. Because once you get the name, that's not enough to walk into court with, and they know it. You better now find the evidence that person did a damn thing. Because you're not going to walk into court. They weren't even going to get to walk into court if Idaho had went to trial. They had hearings about it. Both parties, defense and the prosecution, agreed we are not going to walk into the courtroom and say, well, we got Brian Koberger because of the investigative genetic genealogy tool that the FBI uses. They were going to go in there and simply say it was a tip provided to law enforcement, but not say it was a tip provided by the FBI. Why? Because it's the FBI. Some old guy on the internet told me a bunch of them were dumb, so I don't know what to believe anymore. Cash Patel up there with his big eyes talking about, get me out of here fast. They're asking questions about that Nancy Guthrie again. Oh, man. All right, guys, I don't know what's happening out there. I'm sure everybody will have their different opinions on these notes all day long and twice on Sunday. Who knows? Videos will pop off between Enton and all the others covering it. I think Ashley Banfield might have a video out now. I don't know who else. They need to figure out, though, if, wait, whoa, I pushed the wrong button, y'all. It would be nice, though, if would come out and date on this case and say, we know what, we haven't made a determination. I would be fine. Just come out and say you didn't make a determination then, right? I'm not going to accept, and I haven't accepted it in years, this gotta keep it close to the vest bullshit. That we just accept that. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, guys, I think my internet's acting funky. It's like something in the air. So I'm going to let you guys go. This week coming up, we will be looking at the Idaho Statesman lawsuit over the Brian Koberger financial stuff. We'll look at those documents, see what we can find out in there. We also have the Supreme Court ruling on the geofence stuff to look at as well. And I will see what else happens this week. I think there's some other cases we need to look at, see if any new documents came up. So court dates coming up. Tomorrow is Colella. Now, that we shouldn't be able to see that hearing because it's federal, right? So I don't expect anybody to be airing Colella's hearing in the morning. But as soon as we can get information about it, I'll get it. And when we go live tomorrow, I can hopefully bring you an update on this. Is there any tie to Colella in these fake, not fake, fake again ransom notes? Is that why we're hearing this hush-hush story from the FBI? Is something about to pop off? Many speculate something's popping off with this Colella situation. It's changing that plea tomorrow, right? From not guilty to guilty. Is he ready to spill the beans, right? He's going to talk. He's going to cut a deal, plea bargain, all the rumors that come out with that kind of stuff. So we will see. We'll keep our eye on it. All right, guys. Yes, thank y'all for coming in and hanging out. As Mod Simi says, do all the YouTubey thingies. And Forrest, thank you for being here. And he's reminding you, let me see. Let me put my mods up here. My people. We got our Pharaoh friend, Simi Sharp. See y'all next time. Thanks for hanging. Do all the YouTubey thingies. Like, share, sub. And thank you very much. Mr. Forrest, we could not do it without you. Your grounding effect you have on us. Thank you everyone for being here today. Please come back soon. Make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a thing. Guys, y'all go have a great rest of your afternoon. Touch grass if you can. Don't melt out there. It's quite hot. I'll see you back here at some time tomorrow. And y'all go have a good one and be safe on them streets. Take it all with a grain of salt and Maybe they can uncover who really took Miss Nancy soon and find her.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to each